And today we'll be talking on how to get started with programming or an introduction to programming in Python. Why should you learn programming? Writing program is a very creative and rewarding activity. You can write programs for many reasons, living, um, ranging from making a living to solving a difficult data analysis problem, just for some fun. That are some uses of programming, and the hardware in our current day computers is essentially built to continuously ask us questions like, what would you like me to do next? So basically, suppose that this is my computer, then it is just asking me questions directly that what should I do for you? It is like a very interactive type of assistant like our devices. It is constantly asking me that, okay, what do you want to do? Do you want me to open your Chrome, or do you want me to open your programming Visual Studio or something else? So it is like used for these type of things. So basically it is anxious. And then programmers add an operating system and a set of applications to the hardware, and we end up with a personal digital assistant that is quite helpful and capable of helping us to make different things. And the kinds of things that we humans find boring are just quite fun for the machines. Creativity and motivation is also included in programming, like building useful, elegant, and clever programs for others. Is quite a creative work. And if we think of programs as creative output of a group of programmers, then that is correct. When starting programming, first of all, you need to keep in mind is that you don't want you are not programming to make money, because when you are just going to start programming, then you're going to have a lot of errors. When you suppose that you start programming and you just start writing some code, then you are going to go into many errors. So you need to take care of that. That success will not be instant. Okay, and then there are some words and sentences that come in programming. Like, unlike the human language, the Python vocabulary is actually pretty small. We call this vocabulary reserved words, and they are like some words that are reserved for the Python programming. So, let me just take an example. When we train a dog, we use some special words like sit, stay, or fetch. When with So suppose that you are talking with your dog, and you say, "I wish more people would walk to improve their overall health." But what will the dog listen? The dog will be like, "Okay, I hear blah blah blah, walk blah 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 blah." So this is because walk is a reserved word, and the dog only knows what is walk, and everything to the dog is just some blanks or just blah blah blah. That is what is there, and that is the same like Python is almost same like a dog, but I think better trained than a dog because it can understand you more properly. Not to be confused that I'm just criticizing a dog or Python. Actually, I love Python. You can see that from my website also. So then conversing, talking with Python or doing some basic programming. So first of all, for talking to Python, you need to have a Python software, Python 3 installed. So basically what I recommend is you just go on your internet browser and just type in Python 3. Type in Python 3, then you can install the Python programming, the Python software from there. So basically, it is you can just go on to python.org, and the link will be in the description. So it will just show you the latest version, and you can download it from there. So, but we are going to do is I'm just going to open my terminal over here. So if you're using like when you will download Python, you can use idle for this if you're on Windows, or you can just type in over here. You have the search option in Windows, so just type in over here command prompt, and then in that command prompt you can just type in a shell name, like you will just type in python 3, and then it will run. So here I'll just type in terminal and I'll run it, and I have a python 3 installed, so I'll just go and type in python 3. You can do this, or you can just open your idle, which will be installed if you're using windows, then also it will just directly come. I'm just not going to use idle for now, so let's start by something basic. Okay, so suppose that you want to type in something, you want it to show hello world. So if you are typing hello world, then an error will come, because directly things do not come in programming. So first of all, what you need to do is you need to type in print, and then in parentheses you need to type in hello world, um, and that should also be in columns, because semicolons, because then because we are telling the python that the text which we are using is a string, and we'll be going into it later on. So now you can see hello world is printed, and you can also type in print goodbye, and when you will just run it, then print will be there. And just let me increase the size of this. Yeah, and to just you can come out of this by using the command quit. So quit and then parentheses, and now you will be out of this shell. So this is like some passing some very basic commands, and there are some terminologies that of Python. Like Python, you should know that Python is a high-level language, um, intended to be relatively straightforward for humans to read and write, and computers to read and process. Other high-level language examples that we have nowadays is C++, then we have PHP, we have Ruby, and all those programming languages, Java, Perl. So, but basically, our computer does not understand these programming languages. Our computer understands machine language, which is 0001 100, like something like some binary, and it looks rather simple. But all these combinations and all that in machine learning, they are quite complex. So the lines of Python tell Python that you want it to remember some value for later. Suppose we want that. So we need to pick a name for a value to be remembered, and we can use that symbol or name to retrieve the value later. So when you we call this variable. So like what is variable, a thing that that's whose value varies. So in Python list, I'll just go into my Python 3 shell, and I'm just going to define a variable. So x is a variable over here, and x is equal to, just let me put in 1. And now when I'll just print x without parentheses, without semicolons, because 1 is an integer and we are just going to go deeper into it in the next one. And now you can see that 1 is print, so that is better, and you can just follow these commands, or you can use a text editor for that. So the text editors that I recommend for you for the typing is Atom, and I don't think Visual Studio will be quite much used by you. It is a bit but Atom, it is light and all that, so I think you can use that. Then um, like suppose that I will just do like x plus 1 plus x. I'll just print that. No, I think it will print automatically. So when I'll just run it, it says 2. But because it will pick up the value of x, and it will say, okay, I know that x is 1. That has been assigned to me. So it will do that. And we can just change the value also. We can be like x is equal to 5 plus x. And when we run that and we print x, then our value is 6, because 5 plus 1 6, and x is now 6. So that is some basic how the variable works and all that. And we should also know that what is a basic program. So the definition of a program at its most basic is a sequence of Python statements that have been crafted to do something. Even our simple program that we had made of hello world is a program, if you're following the strict definition. It is a well-line program and not particularly useful, but this, according to the strictest definitions, it is a Python program, and it must be easiest to understand what is a program by thinking about a problem that a program might be built to solve, and then looking at a program that would solve that problem. Okay, so this is like what is program, and you know what? When you are programming, then things will always not go wrong, right. So as we saw in our earliest conversation with Python, which was over here, our first conversation with Python, that was hello world. So we had a problem, we had a syntax error. And beginning programmers often take the fact that Python leaves no room for errors as evidence that Python is mean, hateful, or cruel. While Python seems to like everyone else, Python knows them personally and holds against them. So basically, it's not like that. Python loves everyone, and it is trying its best to tell you that you what you did wrong, because it is telling us that print and hello world and invalid syntax. So basically, you'll be encountering three basic types of errors when you are going to program. First of all, one of it is a syntax error. So these are the first errors you will make, and they are the easiest to fix. A syntax error means that you have violated the grammar rule of Python. Python does its best to point right at the line and character where it noticed or was confused. Then logic error. So a logic error is when your program has good syntax, but there is a mistake in the order of the statement, or perhaps a mistake in how the statement relate to another statement, right? So like something logical, like you say that um, what can you say that will be logically incorrect? That x plus 1 is equal to, like suppose I am going to go with x plus 1 is equal to 3, then a syntax error came, cannot assign to operator. Okay, so it is like so here a syntax error came, not a logic. If you are just going to do it with the text editor and add some few lines, then it can show a logical error over here if you can put the statement in a if loop. If we are going to talk about it later, but let me explain that how syntax error came. It is like it is saying that okay, 1 plus 1 is 2, and we know that, but you are putting the value of 1 plus 1 is equal to 3, and that means that 1 plus 1 is a variable, but 1 plus 1 is a integer because it is not in columns. So it is confused a lot, and that is why an error comes. And we also have something called as a systematic error. A systematic error is when your description of the steps you take is systematically perfect and in right order, but um, there is simply a mistake in the program. The program is perfectly correct, but it does not do what you want the program to do. And so these are the basic three errors which we are going to face. And let's take errors not in a negative way. Errors are like when your Python is going through the program and it's like it is confused. Those are some errors, nothing else. So this was all about getting into starting with Python. And in the next video, we'll be talking about variables, expressions, and some other basic stuff that you should know because we are going to use them again and again in programming. Thanks for watching.